My name is Andrew Morse, and I've done collision work for 40 years. Retired about 3 years ago and did the hot rods and the restorations as a hobby for 40 years. And then when I retired 3 years ago, I started doing this full time, building hot rods and doing restoration work. When I was 17, 18 years old, I had a Model A, one of the first cars I got, and I had a passion for it. Now I have 5 Model A's. It's just it's a disease, you could almost say. You just like the old cars and just enjoy it. Charlie's car, I believe it's either a 76 or a 78 Chevrolet Camaro. It's his first restoration project. Restorations do take a fair amount of time. I've done quite a few restorations recently, and they can take up to, a year, 2 years to do. And it really depends on how extensive you are getting with the restorations. If you're doing a frame off restoration, taking the body off the frame and doing the underside of the body, putting it back on the frame, or if you're doing a restoration, leaving the body on the frame and doing an exterior restoration. When I had first seen the car, it was on jack stands and the wheels were off of it, the fenders were off of it, the doors were off of it, and the trunk lid was off of it. My main concern or deal with was the floor pans, because the floor pans had rusted holes in them, pretty good size. And in that particular car, you can buy new floor pans for it. So I got with Charlie and explained which pans he needed to get to do the replacement. And then once I did the floor pans, then he wanted me to do the exterior of the car repair. So basically, I've done the floor pans, I've done a lot of the exterior repair, and what I'll do, like with these bumpers, I'm doing the bumper repair now. Once I do the repair, I'll get them in primer and block them out. Once it's refinished, then the car will get all put back together. This is actually Charlie's front bumper. Now the front bumper has a few cracks in it, so what I'm gonna do is actually repair the back side of the bumper where the cuts are at. And then once I have the back of the bumper repaired, then I can go ahead and repair the front side of the bumper. So basically the back side will be a structural repair area, and then the front of the bumper will be a finished area, what you see. This would be a good example right here, where the bumper's cracked right here. What I'll actually do is do a repair on the back side of the bumper so the two pieces come together, and then once the back is repaired, then I'll refinish the front part. This is actually a bumper from Charlie's car, the rear bumper, and it had been refinished at one point in time, but what I've done is did all the repair and feathered out the paint. Now the bumper now is ready for primer. Now once it's been primed, it needs to be blocked out and then re-primed and then get ready to paint it.
How to block a door body panels. This is for my 78 Camaro. And how many times you normally block the car, Andrew?
3 times.
And why do you do it 3 times?
Each time I block it, it might show me something that I might have missed. So each time it'll show me a high or a low. When you first start the block, what you're going to see is anything that's black here is still a little bit low. But once I start blocking it, it's going to go away until it's ready for the second coat of primer on there. And you'll see every time I block it, it's getting better and better and better. Excuse the air pressure. Now all I got is a couple of little tiny spots.
And what those little tiny spots mean?
That means it's still a little tiny bit low right there. So what I'll do is block it and do it in an X pattern.
And why do you go in an X pattern?
I know it's even. I've done the same amount of strokes in both directions.
Now how long have you been doing this, Andrew?
42 years, 47 years, too long. Way too long. Well, it's like anything I always say. If you do anything long enough, you're going to get good at it. You can rob banks for 40 years. After a while, you're going to get pretty good at it. that basically will tell you what you got. Like the first stroke, it looks like we got a lot of low spots. But once I start blocking it, them low spots go away because I'm taking primer off of it.
Different blocks which you have.
Yeah.
Just explain the different blocks so they'll understand.
The longer the block, the flatter the panel. In other words, what I'll do is I'll use a long block if I know a panel is relatively flat. But if it's got a little curve in it or inset, like the top of this door, actually the top of the door has a curve that goes inboard. So I actually need to use a round block to go inboard on that curve. It's an inboard curve rather than an outgoing curve. So what I'll do is actually use a round block to get that inboard curve on it. Now every time that I open the spot up, like I got these bare spots, when I go to put my next coat of primer, that'll pretty much finalize it, ready for paint.
And explain when they say you hear a lot of guys on these YouTube channels, they always talking about peaking the lines on a car.
The peak of the line would be like this line right here. What I would do is actually block up on this side, and then I would block up on this side, and then I'd reprime it. That way, you know that line is perfectly sharp. It's nice and clean and sharp on that peak right there. Because what I'm doing is I'm actually shaving up to both sides of it, where I'm getting it peaked on it right there. So
now, when it comes down to product, does it make a difference about what product that you use when it comes to the Bondo and the primer and stuff like that?
I use Evercoat body fillers. Evercoat's a really good product. Bondo is a trade name that they had from back in the 60s and 70s. Bondo was Bondo. And everybody says, well, what kind of Bondo you putting on it? Well, Bondo is manufactured, and the name stuck. But you have a variety of manufacturers, but Evercoat is what I use. I prefer to use Evercoat. It's probably the most expensive filler, but to me personally, it's the best filler.
You just educated me to something. I didn't know Bondo was a trademark name, just like a Coca-Cola.
I'll show you something here.
And Andrew is an expert on Model T's.
Model A.
Model A.
Like this is an Evercoat body filler. You could buy a body filler for $18 a gallon. This is $140 a gallon. And I prefer to use this because it's, in my opinion, the best body filler out there. Really.
Okay. And this is a Model
Model A. It's
A.
a 1931 Model A Ford hot rod. Gonna be hot rod. It's a project I'm putting together.
And once again, these are the doors to the 1978 Camaro that I'm building. And Andrew arguably probably got one of the cleanest paint booths you ever see.
This is actually a paint booth. This is actually where you'll actually paint an automobile. Your fresh air comes in one end, goes past the vehicle, and then the exhaust goes out the other end. This is actually the real deal. This is a paint booth with the bulbs, daylight bulbs. So you always have a constant fresh air coming in the booth, in one end and out the other. Now the filters will actually pick up all the paint particles as you're painting the car. So basically I'll be priming this, the fresh air will come in, and then the exhaust will come out this side over here. The thing is, on restoration, it takes a lot of time. I've been restoring a couple of cars that have taken 2 to 3 years to do. And when you take the car completely apart, every nut, bolt, washer, every panel, and you're painting inside, outside of everything, and you're replacing the motor, the transmission, the rear end, rebuilding all them, it will take 2 to 3, sometimes 4 years to do one, and an extensive amount of money. So I'll go back to, like I said earlier, the car that you restore, you really need to make sure it's one that'll bring the value back to you, or else you're going to throw a lot of money at the car and might not get it back.